Yo, you guys, this is Blacklist of the Abyss, and you're watching my review for Parasyte Episode 11, or aka Kiseijuu, Episode 11. Okay, and this episode starts off with this girl ends up getting killed because of the whole hair thing, where you pull someone's hair out and if it moves, then they're a parasite. Okay, she ends up getting killed because of that, and it made me start thinking that these guys thought that that would be a solution, right, to let people know if someone's dangerous and that they should get away. But if it's the actual, if it's them actually getting that knowledge that ends up getting them killed, then what's the point? Like, if you could live and not know that these things existed and then probably not be killed, wouldn't you prefer to live that way than actually go out of your way to figure out if the person you're with is a parasite, and then finding it out ends up making you get killed? Like that, like, I think this whole hair thing is actually backfiring on them. Alright, but this is just one case. I don't know, maybe there will be cases down the line where someone does pull someone's hair, they find out they're a parasite, then they run away and actually get away. I doubt it, but maybe. Yeah, so that was that. After that, we had Kana's dream, which was funny. And when she woke up, that the look she had on her face was funny too. But the point is that she has feelings for Shinichi, and she doesn't want to think that she has a chance, but she ends up getting her hopes up. She also started putting things. She actually started putting things together too, right? Because Shinichi told her to stay away from Shimada. All right, so now she's actually thinking now, like, wait, so this guy knew that Shimada was trouble, and then it's revealed that he's a serial killer. So maybe he actually knows, and he connected it to my whole telepathic sense thing, and maybe this guy knows more than he's letting on. All right, and she approaches him, talks to him about it. She pulled out his hair too, and then she kept it, which but his hair didn't move, so I don't. That doesn't necessarily disprove the theory I had. It doesn't necessarily disprove it, because it could just be that the meaty parts, I guess, haven't reached his hair yet. Haven't reached there yet. So it's possible that later on in the series, someone could go and pull out Shinichi's hair, and he'll go ahead and let them because he has this false sense of confidence. But then all of a sudden it'll be revealed, like, oh my god, it'll be moving, and he'll be like, wait, what? That's impossible, But they won't believe him because his hair is moving. So obviously that means he's gotta be a parasite. All right. So yeah, that's that. But while Shinichi's talking with Kana, he ends up giving her an unnecessary amount of hints, and Migi tells him that too. He says you can't talk to this girl anymore because you keep giving her hints, and eventually she's going to figure everything out. All right, and let me tell you, she's not my ally. Okay, I have no problem taking her out. All right, so Shinichi's going to try and stay away. But obviously he ends up not doing that at the end of the episode, which he says it's because she says that would be her final favor, which Shinichi takes as she'll finally decide to stay away from me if I do this, so might as well. Alright, but anyway, Kana ends up actually being approached by Murano. Alright, and they they had this one funny moment where Murano brought up that she had been saved by Shinichi, and Kana's like, wait, you mean you have dreams about that too? And Murano's like, what? And Kana's like, don't worry about it. Don't worry about it. Never mind. So that was funny. That was funny. But the main point of this is to essentially develop this idea in Kana's head that Murano is having problems with Shinichi, that maybe, just maybe, she actually has a chance with him. So that's that whole giving her hope thing that I mentioned a couple minutes ago. Okay, she gets her hopes up, and doesn't really end well, but I'll talk about this later. All right, because it might actually end. No, I'll talk about it later. All right. But yeah, we actually, after this, we see this Yakuza hideout. Okay, and one of these parasites goes in there, essentially trying to figure out how many he can kill with the fewest amount of entries. Okay, so these parasites are actually learning from Shimada's failure. All right, so that's actually very cool to see. Well, not really, because they're just slaughtering all these dudes, but that you know what I mean. All right, and the that guy ends up getting in the car with the other guy who he was with, and they go and they talk to this guy who's running for mayor, who was also a parasite. All right, a parasite running for mayor. Well, what is going on here? But Shinichi actually thought the same thing, because he actually found out after his date with Murano, and when he went to go talk with Kana, because like I mentioned this before, she invited him out as this final favor for her, after she ended up getting her hopes crushed. um, and it's while he's waiting for her that he finds out that there are 8 parasites and they're all up to something. One of them is running for mayor. And at one point, Shinichi locked eyes with one of them. It was actually the dude who did the slaughtering at the Yakuza hideout. All right, and that scene made me think that something's going to happen. Um, I feel like that dude might look at Shinichi and realize how not parasite-like he is and how human-like he actually is. Because we've seen Shinichi's progression, and we've seen how he's lost some of his humanity, but compared to the other parasites, he's still very human. And we've seen him have human moments throughout, in the last couple episodes. But it makes me think that this guy is going to get curious and go and try something. All right, he might end up thinking like A did, that Shinichi's a threat to them, and might decide to do something. All right, whether he'll be successful or not, I don't know. Um, I think he might go and attack Shinichi and Kana, and Shinichi will actually have to kind of reveal himself to Kana in order to protect her. Maybe. Um, but where it goes from there, I think that Kana would probably look at Shinichi and say that because he tried to save her, he must be good. And since he's had so many chances to take her out already and he hasn't done it, so I'm thinking that maybe she might think rationally about everything and decide to stick with Shinichi despite the fact that he's a parasite. But this is me going like like two episodes down the line here. Um, but I think that's what will happen there. Um, as far as the whole Kana situation goes. As far as Murano goes, that date that he went on with her, he was on edge the entire time. The entire time at the restaurant, he just got up, said, let's go. When it came to the dogs, he was like, but then it was just a dog. He's like, So he was on edge the entire time, and finally we ended up seeing that scene where that mom was with her kid and the kid was crying, and the kid essentially said, "I hope you die," which obviously had an effect on Shinichi because his mom actually is dead. So that obviously is not something that he was happy to hear. It kind of hurt him. As a matter of fact, we see him start grabbing at his chest because of him remembering what happened to him, because the mom was about to slap the kid. And he remembered his mom actually doing something to him and trying to hurt him, trying to kill him, actually. So, we see Shinichi still being affected by his mom's death, which, his dad referred to him as a man of steel, essentially, as Superman, because he was so unaffected by his mom's death. But he really has been affected by it. He said that he has times where his body feels like it's being ripped apart. So he is still affected by this. He might be able to, it might not be all the time, but he definitely is still affected by his mom's death. Um, and Murano can sense that. She can sense that Shinichi is still being affected by his mom's death. She just doesn't know that it's his mom's death that caused it. All right. And that's where I kind of get this tragic type of feeling where Shinichi thinks of Murano as like the one person who can get him through everything. Like he has all this pain, his body feels like it's being ripped apart, but when he's with Murano, he's able to get over all of that and actually enjoy himself and like be with her and everything. However, Murano has the opposite feeling because as much as she wants to love Shinichi whenever she's around him, she can't ignore how much he's changed, and she tries to force herself, but she just can't stop thinking about what happened to Shinichi. What when he left on that trip, what happened to him on that trip to make him change so much? And it makes me think that they've been going up and down, up and down, up and down. They've been close, then they've separated and gotten farther apart, then gotten closer, then gotten farther apart. Now they're close again, and it makes me think that this isn't going to last, and that this will end in tragedy, and Shinichi is not going to end up being with Murano. I talked not too long ago about the possibility of Murano dying. I think it was last week. I talked about the possibility of Murano dying, and this episode made me think that it is actually going to happen now. Like it's just I just do not think that Shinichi and Murano are going to have this happy ending. I think it's going to be a tragic ending where Murano dies, and then Shinichi he just changes again. I talked about it last week, but I just and then when it comes to Kana, I think Kana will try and be there for him and try and fill that void. However, I think it'll happen in a way where Shinichi will try and drive her away because he's kind of afraid to get closer to anyone else. Because the closer he gets to someone, the more he'll be hurt if they're taken away. And the more they're around him, the better the chances are that they will be taken away. Because he's going to be attacked by parasites and all that, and they will end up being caught up in all that. So I think he will lose Murano, and Kana will try and fill that void, but he'll try to push her away, and then it'll be the struggle between the two of them. And I think it would be an interesting turn if eventually he did finally decide to let Kana in, and then she gets taken away too. Like that would be like the ultimate tragedy, um, and it's depressing to think about Shinichi being put through all that. But I think this is the kind of series that would in fact go down that route. So I think this episode is definitely interesting. It's definitely interesting. It provides quite a number of possibilities for how the series can go, um, and because of that, I'll give it an 8.5 out of 10. At first, I was just going to give it an 8 out of 10, but because it provides so many different ways for the story to grow, for Shinichi to grow, for different paths that Murano and Kana can take, I'm going to give it an 8.5. I thought it was a very good episode, and that's that, you guys. 8.5 out of 10. Rate, comment, subscribe, and I'll see you guys next time.